the reason why I don't talk about bad about gay people whatsoever is that I knew a kid when I was in middle school, when I was in eighth grade, and there's people that wanted me to beat this kid up and everything. They hated him just because he painted his nails, and that he liked me as a person, and he was a person that did confess about his love for me. I told him I don't go that way, but there's people who told me to beat him up. And, they hate gay people and stuff, and they were talking a lot of stuff about him. And my mind is like, I have no right to beat him up, even though I have hate and everything. But what is my reason to beat him up if he never did anything wrong to me? And not only that, when I found out about his life and everything else that has happened to him, because his friend told me what had happened was that his uncle touched him when he was a kid, and his parents did not believe him when he told them, and in the end he ended up leaving the house, got away from his parents and his uncle, because of what happened. He ended up living with his other uncle. That uncle was his grandpa. But yes, like I said, he was during that time when I met him. He was going through issues, and he was cutting himself up a lot with knives. Like you see it all over his arms. And part of me, I really felt bad for him. And my mind is like, I could talk all bad about gay people, but yet in the end it's like, I don't know what they go through. And I saw that kid, I saw that kid and saw the way people have treated him. It bothered me. It bothered me so much because in the end, it felt like when I was seeing the way he was getting bullied, I kind of pictured myself a lot, knowing that I wanted to fit in and everything else. And not only that, that part of me, is like, that part of me, even though I had hate, but part of me later on, it made me realize that I should look out for these people and the people who are getting hurt, because they were reminding me of myself. And everyone that I talked to in that middle school that who had problems of their own, it became like, to me, I felt like it became like a bond. It was like a family and stuff. And when I really wanted to look out for them, because the way I felt, the stuff I was going through in my life, I feel like my whole life I always felt like an outcast. And knowing that, seeing other people who go through these problems as well, it's like I want to be part of their life. I want to be there for them, even if I don't have feelings for them like loving them like that now. But in the end, it's like they're still people, and I'd rather just be friends with them and look out for them instead of them committing suicide or hurting themselves with sharp objects. And not only that, when the stuff that was happening to him in school and how people were saying everything about him, is like I saw almost like every time in the cafeteria. It's like whenever I'm not there, it's like other kids, because they were going through their problems. It's like most of them were kind of afraid to stand up about it. They didn't want to stand up because they were afraid, and it's like I understand why everyone else was afraid to stand up for him, but because it was like there was a lot of kids that were like, it was like maybe 5 or 8 kids, looked for problems, bullied him and stuff. In the moment, like I said, because I saw it and everything, I got fed up with it, and it's like I stood up for him. Because out of everyone in my group, even though everyone had depression and everything, even though I had that too, but I was the only one that had anger and hate, and I stood up to those people, to those kids as well. I told them I will hit them, I would hit them. I'm not gonna allow anyone, talk down on them, or telling them that they should commit suicide, because suicide is never a joke, and I don't like the idea that people being treated a certain way just because they're gay or whatever. Because like I said, it's unfair. And some in my mind is not only that, like I said, but I put myself in their shoes, like people who are victims. Even though I'm not gay, but in my mind, I put myself in their shoes. Like, how would I react and how would I feel that people were doing this to me? Knowing that family, I betrayed and everything, I put myself in that kid's shoes and every other kid that were going through problems in life. And then, like, I wanted to look out for them. I really did. And I took matters in my hand and stuff. And after that, people stopped. And that right there showed me that people's true colors as well. Even though I'm not happy talking bad about gay people in my past, but it made me change my perspective on them. Because I never know what could happen, what could lead to that and stuff. And also another thing is that if I keep talking bad about gay, you never know. It's like I never know that it can always come back towards me. Whether I have a kid or me becoming gay, like I said, because stuff like that does happen. Things always comes back, and that's one thing I've learned. Because the stuff I did, like I mentioned before, in elementary and stuff, when I was a bully and stuff, and I was a thief and everything else. In the end, I feel like it came back to me, and my life would never been the same during that time. I lost everything, and I feel like I was mad about everything in the world, and like I said, that's the reason why I quit talking about gay people. I quit talking bad about them, looking down on them, like they're something to be ashamed of, because they're not. Because like I said, anything could happen. And part of me feels like I wish I kept, contact with him. Because in the end, I don't know what ever happened to him. Because everyone that was new, like I said, most of them were gone. So I think, like I said, I feel like I brought them down, even though, like I said, I tried so much, but keep contact with them, but in the end, I didn't, because, the things I said, like I said, I feel like, in a way, I brought him down and everyone else, and I take responsibility for everything, because I know he's one of the few people that would have committed suicide, because the way he was, and he was ashamed of himself. He hated his existence. He told me this when I met him. He hated his existence. That he wanted to die. He didn't want to be alive anymore, because knowing that his parents didn't believe him, knowing that what his uncle did to them. In my mind, I was like, what kind of family is that? What kind of family does that? Not believe their own son, knowing that he got touched as a kid by his uncle, and yet the uncle never got anything, and his parents trusted him, and it really bothered me a lot. And part of me wished that I looked out for him more than everyone else in that group, because I know none of them really ever stood up, because they were always afraid. And I was the only one that stood up. And like I said, I was the only one that stood up, but in the end, even when they tried to talk me out, try to talk me out of, hatred and everything else. The way I talked, like I said, I was just so negative. I was so negative, and it's like, why did, my mind is like, they deserve a second chance, and they deserve, to find peace. Just, like I said, it's accountability for everything. Not only him, like everyone I cared for. It's like I brought them down. I made them hate humanity. I made them hate themselves more. Because, like I said, I hated my life a lot. I showed so much anger towards the world. I showed hatred towards myself. And yeah, like I said, I just want everything to be negative. I really want everything negative in this world. Back and forth. 15 or 16, like I said. And I was wrong about it. I was wrong ever since that time. I was wrong. I was wrong, very wrong. And the moment I went to high school, I kept everything to myself. The moment 8th grade ended, my mind is like, alright, keep everything to myself, bottled it in. The way I talk, even though I had hate and stuff, but I bottled it in the end. Because in the end, I didn't want to hurt anyone else whatsoever. Because of the way I've talked and the way I brought them down. Because like I said, I made bad choices in life. Because I used violence. Everything to me was violence, murder, and everything else. Revenge. Like I said, it's unfair. And that's all I have to say today.